HD. This your boy HD. Everybody get up on the dance floor and go, and go, and go crazy. And go crazy. And go crazy. And go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the old to LA. Go crazy like a dum-dum. Eastside homeboy, where I come from. Dance on the floor till you go numb. No fighting, no hating, no red rum. This is OOO City. All the way to the bay, hit the bass, feel me. Catch a case cause it's beating up your Chevy. Get you moving side to side, getting all sweaty. Make it work it, work it, work it out. Turn the volume up loud. It's a draw crowd, make it all shout. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Hit play on the track and now I'm ready. Like a quarterback, Tom Brady. Get you all in the frenzy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. We heard the buzz and turned the club up. They tear the rugs up soon as we turn the subs up. Everybody hands high like a drug bust. Yeah, I'm from the West, homie. Don't you see the dubs up? Baptize him on the spot, fill the tubs up. Now fraternize with the flocks, tell him fill the cups up. The show though, original, the type is proto. I go, crazy, crazy, yeah, loco. It's solo, the coach and note I represent the Ocho. Immerse them together to put the devil in the choco. Either I leave him on the mat flat out, I squeeze the telly back out, or when they see him tap out, they go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Go, go, go crazy. Go, go, go crazy. Go, go, go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Go, go, go crazy. Go, go, go crazy. Go, go, go crazy. All the way from the O to LA.
Hello, hello, hello. What is going on, family? It is Tuesday. It is 8:04, and we are right on time for another edition, episode, whatever we're calling it these days. It's another night here with the Scoop Show, and we are so glad you decided to scroll on through and tap in with us for a few minutes on this evening. We have a jam-packed, like we had to do a little switch-o, change-o, Jenga, rearrange-o type of thing with our agenda today to make sure we got it all in. We're gonna do our very best because all of them are pretty good topics to talk about tonight. So stay tuned, because yeah, we've got a lot for you. And get them swiping Twitter fingers ready, how they call them, because we want you tapped in and commenting with us. But we also understand that this is the time of the evening where you might be preparing dinner, you might be getting ready for tomorrow, you might have a whole lot of stuff going on. I know here in the city, we are preparing for the school year to begin. On next week, we go back to school. So we are doing the traditional, y'all better get ready for bed. We're doing a get the kids back on cycle thing. So if that is you right now, if you down through the hallways hollering and corralling and chilling back into the rooms and whatnot, we feel you, okay? But we got you covered. We know that you don't want to miss anything. So while you might not be able to hang out with us for the full time, in real time, we got that good replay for you. And you can tap in with us on all of our social media to not only catch our replays, but stay locked and loaded and tapped into the conversation throughout the week on all of our social media channels. So you can do that by following us on YouTube at The Scoop Show, on Facebook at Real Scoop Show, on SoundCloud at The Scoop Show. We are on Instagram at The Scoop Radio Show. So you can catch those good old replays on YouTube, Facebook, and SoundCloud. All right. We understand you can't always uh, look us in the eyes and whatnot. So SoundCloud allows you to get that good audio experience while you are working out, while you're working, while you are otherwise occupied and are unable to sit down and have that face to face with your Scoop fam. All right. So be sure that you hit all the bells, the thumbs, the notifications, all of the things so you never miss a show. All right. And speaking of the show and our awesome agenda that we've got, how do we come up with said agenda, Q? Well, let me tell you, our agenda is definitely a collaborative effort between ourselves and you, our viewers. All right. We encourage you all as you get your scroll on through these internet streets to hit those three dots. Go ahead, hit that share button and send us those links, send us those images, send us the conversations that have you locked in and happily running down those rabbit holes, okay? Hypothesizing and all of the things with all of the people we want to know about it. And if we get to going too good on the Scoop pages and on our pages under these conversations, then you will see them show up on our agenda. We're going to chop it up for real, for the world, Craig, right here live on the show. So when you see this icon, when you see this image right here on either of our pages accompanying any of the posts, understand that these are curated by you, the fam, okay, the crew. And that means it's time for you to tap in because it's going down. I do. Sometimes I do. You know, I got bars sometimes, and then sometimes it's a little questionable. You know, you just gotta rock with it. You gotta flow with it.
I'll go with it. Go with it.
Yeah, it works a lot of the time, but when it don't, and I own it. But yo, I do.
Absolutely.
All right, straight out of the inbox, y'all. One more. We got Patreon, right? Yes,
I got
yes,
you.
yes.
I got you. I got
Yes,
you.
hypothesizing. That one might be one though. That might be one. It might be one of the tenses. If it sounds good, if it don't, we need to consider
It
it.
does.
It needs to be considered.
Sounds good.
Yes. So, if you and your crew would like to see Q's more dictionary propositions, you might want to tune in to our Patreon pages because all of this kind of foolery could happen back there. Okay, so if you like hanging out with us and you dig our crazy and you want to get a little more locked in with us, we have encouraged you to join us even deeper, okay, and support us in our future endeavors. And you can do that by tuning in to us on the Scoop on Patreon. And we've got 3 different tiers available for your viewing and engagement pleasure. We've got a half scoop, full scoop, double scoop, starting at $5, $10, and $25. And this gives you access to our Patreon only updates in our private community, Patreon only live streams. You get 20% off of our branded merchandise, early access to events, because we back outside, y'all. We back outside. And we've also got a personalized Scoop Nation shout out during our weekly shows, and you get access to our double scoop only events, Scoop of Sex, and additional private interviews throughout the season. So you guys go ahead and search us on Patreon, the Scoop, and go ahead and lock in with us. You can get that behind the scenes, backstage, deep thing going on. It's gonna be a good time. All right, that's it. How you, bro? How you doing?
I am good. Now that I'm up. I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I can't complain. I'm happy. What about you?
And we did not plan this, but same. Cause like I'm tired. This was the Mondayest Tuesday that I've had in a long time. Like I worked, it was good. It was a productive Tuesday, but it was a Monday and Tuesday. So I'm sleeping. I'm hitting the that is the 1, 2, 3 that I plan on doing. I mean, when they had sex mob here in Oklahoma City, I mean that good old pillow, and that's the move. That's
I
what
get it. It's going. The good thing is, like we said earlier, is these topics definitely are good. So I am certain that the topics will keep all of us engaged in tonight's discussion. So,
I'm giggling because I just realized when I watched this replay and remember me doing this silly thing, I'm gonna crack up in myself.
Yes, you will.
But that's really how sleepy I am right now. I'm ready to go to bed. Like it's gonna be a dance, and I'm gonna do a little wiggle and everything because I'm ready.
Like I said, I'm going straight to bed. I'm taking a shower, straight to bed.
Oh man,
I don't tired, boss, but that's all
man,
good.
say that.
All
But
good.
yes, agenda's gonna give me on the good foot. That's right, Daddy. You got it. See, certain folks will get it. Y'all got me. It's okay. When I said it out my mouth, I was like, "Yo, some people go feel that. Go with it. Commit.
Just go with it. Stay there. Stay there. Head first.
It's what I felt. 10 toes in. I'm with. Let's go.
That's all you could do. Is once you
That's the
commit.
kind of vibe I've been on here lately. Let go. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Once you commit, you just got to go with it, right? Why not?
Who gonna check me, boo?
All right, let's go.
Lord have mercy.
Oh, God. All right, y'all ready? Here we go. So first up for this week's hot topics, y'all. If you haven't hit the share button, hit the share button, and of course, like we said, make sure you're commenting all night. We got a lot to talk about. We need your comments. We need your feedback. Invite your people now. So whether you need to tag them in the comments, send them a message saying, hey, text whatever, said, and jump on. Let's go. All right. Here we go. First one up. So end of last couple of days ago, maybe a couple of days ago, Willard Smith, aka Will Smith.
You crack me up calling that man Willard.
I call him for stuff like this. I
don't even call himself Willard, and you call him.
Listen, he's Willard when he does this. Okay,
right?
When he does stuff like this. This is Willard. This is the equivalent to like your mama calling you your full name when you do something wrong.
Okay.
So,
And Will. Okay. Yeah.
So Willard. So if you all remember, about 3 months ago, Will Smith walked on stage, slapped Chris Rock. Well, he gave his apology and released his apology. And in the apology, made some, said some stuff. So apologized to Chris, apologized to Chris's mother, apologized to his brother, Tony, the rest of his family, apologized to everybody. Apologized to his family, his wife, his children, his fans, Questlove, and yeah. So So I'm interested in your thoughts. What are your thoughts on the apology? What do you think? Yeah, what do you think about the apology?
I'm honestly fine with the apology. I'm glad he didn't rush it. I didn't expect him to, especially right afterwards. I didn't expect it to come. I didn't expect this level of apology or acknowledgement to come immediately after. What he said was, it was not too much to me. It wasn't PR-y. It didn't feel PR-y. It felt very Will. If someone wrote it for him, he had a very close hand in the editing and making it very him. If it did have a PR touch put on it. I also dug that he answered some of the questions, some of the trending questions that were going on during that time. I don't know if it's going to do a lot of good for Jada still. I think that ship is kind of sailed. That's going to have to be a separate thing. But I did appreciate him at least agnowledging it.
Covered it. He covers it well. He tries to cover her well.
Yeah. So I did appreciate that. And I was support. I never said I was going to not support Will in this after this happened. I understood it then. I understand. I felt that he probably would, do this later. Like, he gonna think about it. He'll be back. I said that. Like, he'll be back and, we'll figure it out. But, like, also, after reading his book, I understood that side of him much more. It was not that big a shocker to me after learning of his actual, like, Willard Smith, the man, like finding out like his core and where he comes from and how he's reacted in real life to things. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to what's coming from him.
Yeah.
I also hope he's in an intense therapy. Also, bro is going through some things. This situation struck many of those core chords that he uncovers in his book. So even from outside of being a fan and enjoying watching him on the movies and doing all that stuff, if you did go a step deeper and really engage in that book, especially the audio, if you listen to the audio, you have a different connection with his book than if you read it with your voice narrating it. If you listen to the audio, totally different experience. So if you did take that journey, then you see this situation completely different. So, you know.
Yeah. I didn't read the book or listen to the audiobook. But I've a couple of things that I've seen and heard from him previously um, let me know some levels of trauma that he deals with and the levels of I'll use word, yeah, pain and scars that he tries to cover up. So it's so this it no, so I'm so that does I think the apology itself was about as much as he can do at this point. My now this is PR Winfred's speaking. I actually wish that it would have been in a room that wasn't as studio looking ish. Because there's a level of like rawness that, like, as I'm looking behind and around, like, this just looks really setish.
Looks like a corner of the red table room.
Yeah, and so as opposed to like this raw, like he delivered, and I believe it was heartfelt. So when I say delivered, I don't mean like in the acting sense. A very good what seemed to be very heartfelt, sincere apology to as many people as he could. It, but I can't help but see the background and be like, I don't know, So for me, like, again, PR.
So would you have preferred him to be in the car?
I would have preferred him just to be like in a regular living room on your regular chair, on a regular chair.
Oh, okay, chilling, press record. Let me talk to the people, type of thing. Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I do, to your point, I love that he answered the questions. I love that he, accepted responsibility for all of it.
Yeah.
I love that he said, listen, I know, my other, relationship. He didn't make it about. He made it about him in the sense of taking responsibility, but he didn't, like, even when he got a chance to go into the thing about, how he feels about it and how I'm trying to, apologize and not think that I'm a piece of crap. And like that moment could have really gone into making it about him. And he did enough of that to make it known, this is how I feel. This has affected some of my core stuff, but that's still not an excuse for what I did.
I'm going to do this work.
I'm going to do this. Yeah. So I definitely appreciated that. That's that really part of the of his apology. So yeah, it was good.
And I appreciated that he acknowledged that he did reach out to Chris, that he didn't respond, and he was all right with that. Whenever you're ready, I'm here. He didn't act like there was some. He didn't make it bigger than what it needed to be. That's why it didn't feel grandstandy. It felt human and very accountable for the moment, the folks that he touched, the people that were affected, and his willingness to shift it. So, for me, I was with it.
My own, I think the other question I have is, I wonder how long ago he reached out to Chris. And then I wondered, like, okay, I wonder why now. Like, I mean, we've gotten 3 months away from this, which is, a good amount of time. But I wondered, like, why now? Why do this now? Why not? Just thinking through, like, would it have been better had he waited till he was able to talk to Chris, or I don't, again, just me just throwing stuff off the wall,
Yeah.
just thinking,
because he addressed it. Chris Rock addressed it, I think, last night or night before last or something in one of his shows. Where he was like, everybody gets to be the victim, and when the victims finally do talk, like they're having to convince, folks of their victimhood. I'm paraphrasing for sure, because one, I wasn't there, and two, I haven't seen the actual written quote, but that's what I've been hearing through the grapevine that that's what he's saying. I thought, interesting. But see, neither of them have said anything, really. No. Neither of them have made any comments. So if Chris wanted to talk about it, with giving both of them grace enough, it happened to them. Like there's no time frame, in my opinion, for us on when either of them should say something. But it was interesting to me. Oh, okay, Donna, I didn't know that. It was interesting to me that he would say that, considering he hasn't said anything. So they both have careers that are kind of waiting with bated breath, is like, what's up with this, and to let it go. Like the people weren't going to let it go, and especially Will, like they were not going to let him just pop back out with a premiere and trailers and whatnot, and he not say that.
Which is a part of why I thought that. Like, okay,
but it's good that he got back to work. Like it was a lot. There were some people who stood up like, hey, bro, like I feel you. Okay, it happened. Let's keep the party going. So those things are still very much in movement, and he's got to be able to move forward. One, in his healing process, he's got to be able to get back to work. So whatever other stuff that he's doing, so he can begin to refocus some of his energy to feel more like himself again. And people are going to have to see him in those modes so that it can be effective. So we've got to get this out of the way so he can get through this week or so of us talking about him apologizing and how we feel about his apology, so then he can, move on and go back into doing whatever he's doing. This was necessary. So
absolutely. Let's see. Victoria says, I love him, as this was hard for him. He truly loves his wife, but she doesn't love him the same, in my opinion. However, he spoke from the heart, and his heart is hurting.
Yeah, his heart is hurting.
Yep. Danielle, I love it, and I can appreciate how he said he is practicing being remorseful without giving himself. Yep. Absolutely. Man, doing that kind of work is the most courageous. People go their whole lives dodging this.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Mike said the wait was good to gather his mind. His mindset needed to be correct, and this is good for their careers. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm glad he didn't rush right out there and appease the people while they were talking about what he was not ready, and we know he wasn't ready.
I'll say, and I think a part of my thought was, if he makes this apology this week and next week announces a movie, that's problematic. Like that, I think that would be disappointing.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I think one of the reasons it made me think, like, I hope that doesn't, unless they about to announce that they about to do something together, then that's totally different, Then, but even then, it still has this like.
Okay. It would give me very much Monique and boy Lee Daniels and them on the stage, half on the coat. What now? Yeah, that's cute, but what? Like it would give me I would have questions for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
David said that was like slapping a close friend. This elevated Chris's career. I don't know if it elevated his career, but it definitely gave him some time in the.
Yeah.
Well, no, it did, because I think they said ticket prices and everything for him all jumped up, and
they wanted to hear him talk about it. I don't know if that's going to hold him though, because now that it's out that he's really not talking about it. You get maybe one or two lines, but he doesn't have material about this. So
he's got to do something. If he's gonna do, he got to do something with it.
Yeah. He's
deeply reflective. The shame portion is real. I appreciate his courage. This is real humanity transforming in front of us. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yep. All right. Anything else on that one?
No.
All right. Let's keep it moving.
To be continued.
Keep it moving. We got a few of them tonight.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
All right. This. So Kevin Hart was on the pivot. Last week, was it last week?
I think it started last week. Yeah, I think it was last week.
Last week or the week before last. And first of all, did you watch the whole interview?
I did not watch the whole one. I saw the clip that everyone was sharing about Homeboy and his woman out of the thing, and hilarious.
That's what
but I
made me.
haven't
That's what
been
made
able
me
to.
watch it.
So yeah, I haven't tracked down the full link to the full show yet, but I would love to watch it because yeah,
That's what made me watch it. I was like, first of all, Channing is Crowder always says ridiculous stuff like
he
that.
does. He does. I don't even know
Always.
where is he an athlete? Is that how
Mhm.
he's?
Yeah,
Okay,
he
yeah,
was
I'm like, I do not know, dude.
he's
I only
retired.
know him from saying wild shit on couches with other people. Like that's the only way I know, dude.
Yeah, he's a former retired linebacker. He used to play with like the Dolphins and I forgot who else. I think just the
Okay,
Dolphins.
cool. Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. But he took this part. So for those who didn't, Kevin Hart talks about how we as a community have to do better at getting beyond our ego to work together.
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking about how him and Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, work together, and the reason why you see them so much is because they're between them two. They have no ego in terms of who works like when they work together, if they're going to work together, how they're going to, whose
Name
production
is
company's going to do
first.
what they're going to bring, whose name is first. They're just going to bring each other in so both of each other can have these opportunities. And he talks about the same thing how others in their circle do that, like him recently, Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock did a show together. Him and Jay-Z, he's like, we just like, there's no, the reason why you're seeing this is because you're seeing us all decide that we want to help lift the community, and we as a people have to do that even more. And I just dug that entire segment because he talks about again that we don't, what he said, we don't want to have we're ruining our financial prosperity because of our ego and because we don't want to help each other. We just are basically always trying to put each other down, to step on each other instead of
There's
helping
only
each
one. There's
other.
room for only one of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, what did you think about it?
So I did also enjoy this piece of the interview, and I'm definitely going to tap in. Share the go on and put me on to the link in our box, please.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I tend to agree that you can often get much further when you make smart collaboration decisions with your branding, with your babies. So we have seen him do that. We've seen him since before he was who he was, always working with folks that he has come up with who were, all on those same circuits, trying to get put on and all that. He continuously creates space for those who he has come up with and worked alongside of. So I'm team smart collaborations. I've witnessed and potentially been a part of and seen how even on a big scale we've seen some collaborations and go, wait, what? And then it not work and it's trash, but they like each other a lot and should have never done business with each other. So we've got to really start to break down what support looks like from a target perspective and from a friends and family perspective, and really make educated decisions about our brands, our personal brands, and how we mesh them with others. So I'm not saying don't collaborate. I think we definitely need to have more thoughtful approaches to how we do it. So yeah, I was here for this. Now, the other side of this for me, and hearing his aside from the nuggets, he did a little ranting and he was, I'm Kevin Hart. I can da-da-da. I'm not concerned about what you got to da-da-da. I'm Kevin Hart, and he's saying he's doing all these collaborations with other people who also could say, I'm The Rock Johnson. I'm Jay da-da-da-Z. I'm, all these other people who have been somewhat afforded a level of privilege to be able to strip their ego and say, hey, bro, we're bros. Let's just do work, So from some of and it puts small businesses who are in a different arena with, vying for a similar market and all that, just trying to get it out the mud, hearing things like that without that little caveat of, remember where you are though. Like that's a good way of moving when it fits and when you are prepared to handle what a collaboration looks like, because both of you must bring something to the table for both people to actually gain from said collaboration, or it's just two folks spending a lot of money to waste a lot of money, you know, not make no money. So you got to make sure that it's smart. So that was my follow up to that little rant, and kind of I noticed that other side of that that he shared, and I thought about. It's very easy to strip your ego when you come with when you come with a brand such as that.
Absolutely.
And so
yeah, my first thought. So, and I think it was Alciendo on the post said almost verbatim what I said. As I was listening to it, I said it's easy for you to say that now because you're not in survival mode. Like you're not in scarcity mode where you're where it's like, I don't know if I'm gonna eat next month, so I gotta, so that's a different level of, comfortability that he has. But then I had to ask myself, okay, so then on the level or the place that, like you said, small businesses, newer businesses maybe are ones that don't have access to the things that he would have, the Dwayne Johnsons would have, the Jay-Z's would have. What are the things? Are there possible ways of collaborating or networking that would be beneficial? It's like, absolutely. But to your point, we have to do it on our scale, and still be willing to sometimes take the short end of the deal just to be a part of the deal, as opposed to thinking, okay, because I don't have, because this isn't going to net me this large return today, that I still shouldn't support, I shouldn't support that today. So it's kind of like doing it on your level, so to speak, as opposed to doing that. But I totally thought, but you Kevin Hart, so you know.
Yeah. Overall, though, we need to do a better job. Excuse me. At getting creative with how we do support one another. Like what he was saying about, he's got a vodka, I've got a vodka. If you put his on the top, I'm going to put his up. Like you can do that. Every opportunity does not have to be a me moment, especially if your friend has something that complements or accompanies what it is that you do. You know what I mean? So that is where, without even saying, hey, me and Win are collaborating, you can still place and provide space for your people without that investment, that attachment, that all that extra that we put into the big launch and all those other things. That there are many ways to support, and there's different levels of it. And I think we often, when we see that there's a need for something and our friend is trending right now or popping right now, why ain't you that? That's not that's not how that works. That's not their responsibility to do that, and I think that's where we got our egos absolutely get in the way when it comes to our expectations of our friends and family and those who are at different levels that we have access to get us there,
I do think one of the things, because he does say, he talks about like when he's talking about this, he's talking about it from a financial space. But the thing that I liked about was he talks about it even just from an information standpoint.
Like, we hold it all close.
He was like, listen, even if it's just information like that you need, like somebody has the blueprint, then like, listen, don't be afraid. Like, don't take the time to turn around and help somebody. But again, like I said, even if it's on where you are, you might not have the whole blueprint, but you have a part of it. So how do I get from, you might not be A to Z, but okay, I'm at D. Let me get you to D. And then and after
we might move back up somewhere around P and see where we at. Like, see where we go.
Let's get to the next ones together. Right. So I think even that is that, or, and to your point about expectations of friends, I think that for me, like my expectation of my friends is like, I don't expect my friends to buy everything that I do. But I do expect you to hit the share button. Share.
Yeah.
So, like I think there's still and even like my friends, like other people like Rochelle and other people who are in financial services, just because we do the same thing doesn't mean like I can't, there is no level.
Because every coach and for everybody, every person. Yeah. And you offer different things than they offer. And
Yeah. So I think it's even just thinking of that. But again, I recognize it's a different mindset when you are when it's like I need this to eat.
Yeah.
And if that's the mindset that we have. So I get that, and I don't want to take that lightly because that's the real thing. Like it's a real thing when that sale is the difference between you paying your rent and you being
And you already taking an L on the sale, but you know you just got a number that you're trying to hit.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's the part that we don't
totally
say to nobody. That often no small business is really in the position to be offering a sale. Like,
no, you're just trying to move
understand
numbers.
that. Understand that. Your
Move.
friends and family who have these businesses that's popping and doing the things, they are not yet financially in the position to offer a discount on anything, especially on their already underpriced items.
Yep.
Just so understand that. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we can move on that note.
That's support. That's just
yeah.
support.
So remember that. Yeah.
we just have to. I think again, we do have to, especially like I said, entrepreneurs or business people. Period. Like, look for pockets of ways that you can help each other. You know, and to this point, like put your ego aside. Just because I tell people, I tell my
all the time. Mm-hmm.
Listen, I tell people, listen, I don't have to be. I can support. I can just be in a support position on this one. I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm perfectly
okay. Sometimes I prefer.
Like I don't have to talk. I could just be like, hey, go to his thing or I sit in the back. I'm good.
Yeah.
But again, to show up as best as we can. So
agreed.
So yeah. All right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. There's a couple of comments. So
yeah, we did have
one. We talked about that with Chris Rock and gave him his roses on Heart to Heart. Okay, I haven't seen that one.
Is that another show? Heart to Heart?
Oh, Peacock. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I listened to his podcast. He's got a podcast too, so I didn't know that he's also got a show. Come on, Mr. Hart.
Well, when you read it, he talks about how he's moved into basically now where Heartbeat was just like a production company for films. Mm-hmm. Now they're a full-fledged media company. So he's moving into full-fledged media company and they're trying to go. They just trying to go public, and I think they just got a valuation of like $700 million or something like that. So yeah,
I enjoy his podcast. With the one that he does with other comedians when he interviews other comedians, and I can't remember the name of it. Save my life right now. He ain't paying us no way. His podcast. So I enjoy that one a lot. So that doesn't surprise me that he's moved into other media. And I will have to tap in. Yeah.
He's one of the best black businessmen ever. The true second coming with Eddie Murphy. He again watch this interview. He talks about that too on the interview too. About how a lot of what he's doing is now like he started out trying to be Eddie Murphy and then got to a certain point and had to figure out how to take it up and how to what do I do now? Because now he's like, I can't get any bigger in comedy, so I got to do something else. Yeah, so
that's an amazing issue to have, ain't it?
I'm working. We're working on it. We're working on it. Working on it.
Where else can we go? What else can
what else can we do? We need to do something else. Y'all hit that share button so we can get there.
Lord, yeah, speak, Lord. Did you feel that? I felt that. Where else do we? I felt somebody looking with me. I felt somebody searching for a place for us.
Listen, one day I'm gonna share with y'all about that. But anyway, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. All right. In other news, yesterday, the NFL announced the penalty punishment for Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, the former Houston Texans, now Cleveland Browns quarterback, who had 30 initially. It was 30.
Yeah, your boy got them numbers. He up there.
30 ladies who files charges against him for Oh Lord, I forgot
I
the
think they
charge was.
titled it sexual misconduct, but not of the
Yeah,
violent variety or some
right.
doing too
So
much.
they were all masseuses, and yeah, and said he was doing the most.
Mm-hmm.
And so they all came forward. Now, two of the charges were dropped. One of them, or then twice, the DA or the Texas declined to prosecute him. The grand jury in Texas declined to prosecute him. And so now the NFL has come out with their penalty, and his penalty was 6 games, a six
Mm-hmm.
game penalty for this. Now he settled up there, so now it's like 25 lawsuits.
Yeah.
20? Yeah, and of the 25, he settled with like 29 of them.
These numbers, Lord.
Also, those same ladies also filed lawsuits against the Houston Texans,
Mm.
and they have settled with all 30.
Yeah. So get our
So
name out of this mess.
up
We
until
get with your boy now. We're good. Mm-hmm.
yeah, so now though the Texans didn't get any penalties up until this point. Deshaun has gotten 6. The NFLPA has said they're not going to appeal the decision. The NFL is still deciding. They have 3 days
Mm-hmm.
from it, but the rumor is they are going to appeal, and they want somewhere between 8 and 10 games, or 8 and 12 games, and they want him to pay upwards of an $8 million fine.
Because right now he has no fine attached to his current punishment. Everyone else has
Correct.
paid something but him. He's just getting to not play the games, but he still gets to work out. I think he has to sit out for 2 games, and then he gets to start training for the rest. He has to sit out for 4, and then gets to train.
He has to sit out for 8 games total. He
Um,
can't practice or be around the team for the first 4 games for 4 weeks. After the 4th week, he can practice, but he can't play until week 9.
Yeah, this one was.
And so was also different, strange, different, interesting, whatever word you want to use. The way they structured his contract.
Okay.
So in preparation for this, so his contract with Cleveland is 5 years, 7 years, $230 million guaranteed, which is the highest. But what they did was in year 1, which is this year, his salary is only $1 million in anticipation of him being suspended for the whole year, is what alleging they're doing. And then every year after, the rest of the $229 million is fully guaranteed. And there's a clause in there that says that they couldn't void his contract no matter what happened with this suit.
Mm.
Yeah.
This is giving Texas. This is giving very Texas. I don't even, aside from football is pointing out, this just sounds like some Texas foolery right here. I mean, what he was doing was, from what I understand, he was engaging with these massage, like doing, it's a pressure. It was more of a pressure thing. I'm me, you're you, I'm me, you're you, why wouldn't you? They felt uncomfortable, and either if they consented or didn't, they felt all of the thing got too much and they didn't like it. So I don't understand. And they said that they did not push harder to like the full-on 1-year suspension, because there were quite a few folks who were saying that they wanted him to be suspended at least a year, and it should have been a year ago, because this has been going on for a while, and they thought it was too light. So that was the reason for that. And I said, okay. But even if it was like a year, wouldn't have been enough. If it was like a year is all we're going to do if it's violent. Okay. I don't know. United States continuously disappoints me when it comes to these types of cases, like over and over and over again. And then when you add Texas on top of that, we're just layering the levels of foolery to this. So I mean,
I feel like what makes this difficult is the fact that because, so first of all, let me say I think that given what's happened, um, and given things that have happened in the past, I
Mm-hmm.
I think this one is kind of light. I think that's light. Um,
They prepared
I
for it.
think- yeah, I think the problem is, I think
In
the
the
problem
paperwork.
is, um, because the way our system works, the way it looks like is like we have part of people who will say that because two times the grand jury refused to charge, um, because the grand that now and now it looks like he didn't do anything. And then there's another part that says, but because he settled these um, he settled these civil suits,
Yeah.
it looks like he did do something. And
Mhm.
so you have like both ends of this discussion that are trying to say, but he wasn't charged, so why is he being punished? And the other end is saying, but he settled, so the settlements
Right.
make it look like you're assuming guilt. And so the judge who made this decision, there was a judge who both the Players Association and the NFL hired together to rule in these kind of things, is looking like, but we don't have enough evidence to show that he did, but we do have enough evidence to show that his behavior was bad and inappropriate. So they're not punishing him for what he did, or excuse me, if he did or did not do something, they're punishing him because it was so many people who said you were being inappropriate and you were
Right.
being inappropriate. So it's just a really weird position because I don't even think, let me say this, I don't necessarily even know if the NFL cares if he did it. You know what I mean? Did or
I don't
didn't.
think they do. They like when I would have been able to think one way or the other until you broke down that contract situation.
Yeah.
There were conversations being had, and not just between his people and the team's people. Because if they would have brought him on and paying all that money, and then the league in itself found out that it's 30, all these folks and all this stuff that's been going on in the background, and then you brought him into this mix, knowing what we've been going through with these who can't keep their hands to themselves and doing all this extra out here in these streets, and you want to add to it. So, like, we know there were conversations made for that paperwork to be that tight. So that man continues to get his coin, although he's doing what he does. What if no one said nothing within this year? Did they push it out there? Because everyone is saying, I'm reading comments, and even on your post when you shared it, they were like, it sounds like a setup. These people, da, 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 da. Did we plant this situation so it had to happen during this first year so we can guarantee this man gets his money when this is all said and done? Like, what is the strategy?
Well,
Now we have more questions than is this just right? Is this just enough? Is this just like, and then all future stories, because there will be more. There will be more. So, like, when the NFL gets up there and hits us with these, we feel so deeply, and this is not ever tolerable or accepted. No, getting caught is not tolerable or accepted without a very, very strategic and well played plan, sir. That's what the
well,
NFL is showing me with
I
this
think,
particular situation.
so I'm agreeing with you. I'm
Mhm.
agreeing with you. I think it's also it like this has been going on for like the original person like who has said this started years ago.
Right.
And the reason the Texans were fined was because they facilitated a lot of these meetings. So that's why part of why they settled. I think the other part what you're referring to is the fact that the Texans didn't release this information until he decided he no longer wanted to play for them anymore. And then now all of a sudden, now it comes out, and now and so it's like it's this whole thing that really, like I said, has absolutely nothing to do with these 30 ladies.
But I'm
Yeah.
saying, does the NFL not know about them paying them the Texan team paying the 30 people? Like, nobody knew that was going on. No conversation. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Now, like,
yeah.
like, I'm like, you can bounce team to team to team, but the parent is allowing this foolery to happen. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Yeah, at all of these different levels. How it worked out, fine. He knew that they was gonna have an active fool when he jumped ship, so he told Cleveland, "Hey, bro, they coming. Like, they ain't gonna like me."
That wasn't even before that. Because
Yeah.
so during the year he was sitting out, it started coming out. So the Texans knew then that this was before he even Cleveland, before he even got to Cleveland, and they traded
so
for
that's
him.
not that's not his contract with Cleveland to sit the year and then start making the 230 the millions.
Yeah, the Cleveland contract is the $1 million this year. Sit out and yes, that's this year. But this whole thing started while when he decided last football season with the Texans, to sit out there, that he didn't want to play anymore and was trying to demand a trade. So while all of a sudden, then boom.
So that's why people are saying they should have done it last year when he started. Lord, throw the whole damn league away.
Correct.
This is why they boycott.
This
is one more
reason why like the Texans leaked it to get him to reduce his, to hurt him and force him to play. And like, oh, if you ain't gonna play for us, fine, we're not gonna protect you anymore. Boom. There you go. And nobody else is gonna want you because now look at what you're doing. And look at who you are. And then all of a sudden nobody wanted him, or they couldn't get enough for him. And then Cleveland comes along and says, wait, not only we'll get him, we'll pay him more than anybody else. Because at this point now, as it took a year for them to get to, other teams then came back and said, hey, hold on, let's re-engage this because nothing has happened. What's going on? Let's re-engage the possibility of them. Cleveland is the only, because first of all, $230 million guaranteed money has never happened before.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
They have given him the highest guaranteed contract in league history in the midst of all of this.
Yeah.
So Cleveland has come along and said, we're going to do this. And then now they're like, okay, let's structure it. And then in the process of that, Cleveland is like, okay, we know we're about to take a hit, PR hit, but let's figure some stuff out. And so they have been on their end trying to figure out. So again, it is, like Shanae said, it's a whole ish show to try. That's what I said. This has nothing to do with these ladies. This has everything to do with selling some tickets. What did he say that on the most the thing that is now, what did he say in the movie, is now the thing that's big enough that it surpassed Jesus, which is the NFL.
Yeah, it's a trip. It's that's why I'm like this kind of, But now this is the first time anyone is broke. If contracts like that exist prior to this, which I'm sure they do, I wasn't aware. I mean, from we're going to allow that we know the thing is happening, we're going to bring you in. Like if that has happened before, I didn't know. But now that I do, it makes me like it really. I didn't believe them before, but now I'm really like, yeah, okay, just don't keep that. Just pay the money, do what you got to do, but like keep the statements because we don't believe you. You paid too many people. Like I don't believe it.
They did this with Tom Brady too. When Tom Brady had to sit out, they backloaded his contract for that season. I think it was like the first 4 games he had to sit out. So they paid him a very small amount the first four games, and then backloaded for the rest of the season so he didn't lose any money. So, but to this degree, I don't know any contract that.
Because what if he escalates? Like he escalates because all of these.
Well, I don't know if you saw, the other part of this is now he can't. The team that Cleveland has to monitor and choose his masseuses for him.
Nope. Not for this grown ass man. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. Meanwhile, we said like I'm not even gonna entertain that. I'm just not even gonna. So now only are we gonna pay you. Now we have to babysit you because you can't keep your hand. We've created such a monster that you can't keep your hands. And now we have to bring Helga in so you can keep your hands to yourself. Okay.
It's deep. It's deep.
All right.
So I said, this is deep. This is deep. Yeah.
Yeah, sis.
Yeah.
For taking in the That too, Shanae. That NDA on lock. Liggity lock.
Yep. All right.
That's
heavy, huh?
Yeah.
That's heavy. That is heavy. All right. You ready?
Yes, please.
Uh-oh, where'd it go?
Oh, we right at the top of the hour too.
I know, that's what I said.
Yet again, we're in the same predicament.
Right.
We're gonna get
All
a
right. So the question is, do you believe there's more advice given to men or women about relationships on social media? Why or why not? And do you believe it's helping or harming our relationships? Do you believe there's more advice given to men or women about relationships on social media? Why or why not? Do you believe it's helping or harming our relationships?
I think this one it depends very much on your algorithm. What you consume is what you'll see. Because I think it's probably about equal. I think women are more engaged with advice in general, whether it's for us or not. We respond and
Absolutely.
just saying.
Men don't talk. Men's like,
yeah, you know what I mean? So if from a social media perspective, especially, you're going to provide content for the audience that's engaging with you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it will appear to look like it's definitely more for women, but I think even advice that is for men has been structured in such a way that it still also grabs women. So then that engagement happens too. So it gets hard to tell. Women are more receptive to it and are willing to take action and come back. So that creates that funnel.
And that repeated out and the repeated algorithm. Because once you engage in it, you're going to keep getting more just like it. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Whether it worked or it didn't, you'll be back to report back and then try something like so. It's a retail ish loop that happens.
Yeah, I'll say this. I think you're correct. I think in general it really is based upon. I think it's probably even, but I actually think that at this point, it's probably more towards. There's probably more advice given to women. I think that, and a lot of that, I think it's because partly for what you said, but I think that's just the time of the culture we're in right now. And to your point, women are more engaging on the on post, and men have gotten like I think let's call it 5 years ago, I would have flipped my answer and said that it was more towards men. But I think because men just shut up and like we're not talking. I think you're seeing more stuff about women because it's almost like we have we get a swell or a couple of popular people that come, they swell up, they go away, and then here comes somebody else that's popular, pretty much saying the same thing, and then they swell, and then they kind of go away, and so it's kind of happening in waves, which is why somebody like the Kevin Samuels was such a phenomenon because he comes along in the time and is doing the thing that's opposite of what everybody else is doing or saying, and now he becomes popular, and then men talk. Some talk.
I've also noticed that men have moved away from the platforms that women spend lots of time on. Like YouTube is not a place where myself or many of my friends go for like the social media experience. Like the comment sections under videos and the live threads, that doesn't really engage women, but that is where you found and still find many of the men who are talking to men and where men are engaging and having that space. They observe on Facebook, Instagram, those other platforms where women have definitely taken a larger voice. So they're observing those conversations and taking them back to YouTube and having their breakdown and rundown of it. And then those links are then being shared. The loop is crazy how it happened. Because I thought to myself, where the hell did Kevin Samuels come from? And I was like, this is you. Oh, this is why I was like, if this is not in my like if it's not being sent to me as a recommend, I would have never known this person exists. But somehow it's made its way back. And that's how, all of that.
Yeah. Because he's on YouTube and then people share it and then people share it.
Yeah. Did y'all see this? Did you hear that? No, because we're not over there. Like it somehow got back from, Us being nosy, probably dipping our toes in the water that wasn't for us. Because, like I said, we're gonna go. If they have advice, we shall come. So it's one of those things. It's just what we do. It's what we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. The second part of the question, I think that,
Oh,
I
helpful
think,
or harmful. Mm.
yeah, I think that mostly it's harmful at this point. And I say that because nobody's listening to anybody.
Right. Right.
So I think that part is harmful, and I think that a lot of times we have fallen into being the clickbait people.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll take a headline, and instead of like actually going in any depth or using it to have discussion or conversation, we just go whatever the top line thing is, and we go with that, and that is that is now the discussion, instead of listening for any depth or listening for any understanding, or even really listening fully to what the person says, as we talked about last week with TD Jakes. So I think it's just a lot of trying to, and I think a lot of that comes from what he said. It's a lot of pain out there,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of hurt. I think it's a lot of pain, women who are in pain right now, and I think that the pain is coming out, and so these are the conversations we're having.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a lot of men that are like, listen, we trying, and we tired of it, or we just don't care, and so we just gonna shut up until y'all get tired.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't find it. I think it will be helpful one day when we put our actual listening ears on to hear it. So I'm thankful that much of it is in video form and we can go back and it's archived in links and our memory is gonna pop back up, 5 years, 1 year, and let us know, yep, this is what we were talking about. And hopefully in a different headspace at a different time, we'll press play and think, oh, that's what that meant. You know what I mean? It might be too soon. Some of this might be ahead of its time because
Well,
we are ready in a large way. We are not ready
yeah,
for the dissecting and taking the meat from the bones and the deeper level of thinking, the getting past the what can fit in the meme to have a conversation. Like we're still very surface because we're looking for acknowledgement of self first. I need someone to say that this thing actually happened to me, acknowledge that it hurt, that it was wrong. I need it to feel better. This thing has to feel better so that I can move on. And until this thing gets acknowledged, that's
exactly,
what I'm on.
exactly,
That's what I'm
exactly.
on.
And I think so. Shanae makes a good point. People are pandering to their target audience. Most of it is lopsided, and I think that's part of the problem right there. Is that people are pandering to their target audience because they know their target audience is only going to listen to the part that they want to hear. So instead of saying the things that you might initially don't want to hear, but you need to hear, it's easier just to continue to regurgitate the same things that you know are going to get you more views and more clicks, because instead of, and again, we like what's popular instead of what's good for us. So not to say that popularity can't be good, but a lot of it is like, oh, this person is popping right now, whatever they say we're going to agree with, instead of being like, yeah, no, I don't agree with that.
Yeah. We don't come at things critically from the fear of saying we like hating. No, I'm making sure that I'm making the right decision and this information actually qualifies for my life. That could be great advice for someone else. That's not for everybody. So me asking these questions qualifies this solution for a potential problem in my life. It has nothing to do with what you get to do for it with yours. I don't want, and we get so concerned about having that debate with someone else where that's all you really have to say about that. That has nothing to do with me. This has something to do with me. What you do with this is for you. And then be done with it.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't do that though.
Nope, we don't. And so that's why I think where it becomes hurtful. Because I think we want to have healthy conversations. I think we do want to be heard. I think we want our pain acknowledged, which is nothing is wrong with that.
Right.
But until you get to the point where you can't, like you said, you can't move forward, or or you can't even acknowledge that you played a part in the pain.
Yeah.
Because now it's just all the other person. Now it's just all these women, and now it's just all these men. And it's like, no, in your situation, you probably You 99.99999% participated at
Yeah.
on some level.
Especially if it's happened multiple times. If this is a pattern for you, you are also very much a part of that pattern.
Mm-hmm. And so we got to be like, okay, I might not be able to fix everything, but I surely can improve me. Yep. So let me change me. And then when I change me, everything, all the other stuff around me will start to change.
Right along with it. Yep. Amen.
So, all right, next one. What was next? Where is this? These things are so small.
I'll work on that.
It's my terrible eyes. Let's see. All right. This one says relationships don't end because we stop caring. They end when we stop having fun together. When we create moments of joy and lightheartedness, we can chip away at the hardened moments. Life is difficult enough. We don't have to make it more difficult by choosing to stay in conflict. Are we taking ourselves too seriously in relationships?
I ain't going with this one. It sounds cute, but
Okay, go ahead. Keep going. Say more.
I really wanted to be like, yes, but no. This puts too much on giggles and does not put enough on the actual experience and what when a person says, okay, this ain't working. You know what I mean? And this no longer can continue. Not I'm going to say something and we're going to potentially argue and it's going to be uncomfortable for a while. But when the decision is made to no longer be in relationship with someone, a couple giggles and skips down the way ain't going to fix that. And I think a lot of the times we do that. We try that, the creating moments of joy and lightheartedness to chip away at harder moments. Yes, that works good in theory and in ideal situations. But if you've gone through some stuff and it digs a little deep, hits a little harder, and those hard moments are hard, giggles ain't gonna fix that. And I think that's kind of that's what's the word I'm trying to say, but the alternative to what we know is a very real consequence of trying to stick through and figuring things out and working through what relationships do. It felt kind of like it was downplaying the effort that someone puts in before they get to that point. If you just would have laughed more, serious. Like I'm like, that's not why relationships. That ain't the nutshell that they thought it was. Like that went not with that.
I try to, I always talk about like foundation of a lot of healthy relationships is friendship, which I believe. Mm-hmm. And I think when I read this, I thought to me that's what this was trying to get at was like we stop being friends, like and doing things that are not outside of the mundane. Like we get very comfortable in routines. We get comfortable in talking about paying bills and who's gonna take the kids and and doing that. And oh shoot, it's about time to have some sex and okay, and like we get into this mundane routine and we stop, the excitement. So on that level, I don't necessarily. First of all, I don't think that that's why relationships end when that happens, but I think that does play a part of the deterioration because now you're missing a piece that does help breathe life into the relationship. So I agree with that, but to the point of I
love that spelling. I'm taking that kits. Yes.
Right. But to the point where it's like, oh, like you said, we just got to have more fun, and we're going to be okay. No, I don't think it's that simple.
No.
I think that we have to, that you definitely have to prioritize each other. I think relationships end when you stop prioritizing each other over yourself. And that means doing the the work. See, I said it. The work that it takes in order to continue to learn and continue to listen and continue to value what the other person has going on, over, alongside of the things that you, and then feeling like they're doing the same to you. So I think when we do that, fun is in there because you realize, man, my partner is stressed the heck out.
Yeah.
Let's go do something. We got to do something different. We got to do something fun. We got to do something different. Or the communication is there where he or she can say, hey, you know what? Right now I'm really stressed out and I need an outlet. Boom, cool. Let's go. Let's okay. Now we can throw this fun thing in there. It does kind of help revitalize us, and it can, put us in the position where our lines of communications are a little easier because the tension has come down.
Yeah.
But it's not just fun.
Exactly.
Like, I think it's a little more nuanced than we just gotta have fun.
I saw where they were going, but
yeah,
I needed more words.
which I think is part of the thing. So since we're talking about, like, on the last post, like with the social media stuff, I think that's the hard part, is that social media is typically not the best place to talk through the complexities. So you're given one part of something, and it's like there's nuances that you can bring in, and most people aren't talking through the nuances or presenting the nuances to say, in this situation, this goes. But if this ain't the situation, like you said, then this might not be applicable. Might not be applicable to your situation. So it's those types of things that have to be done a little bit in a little bit closer proximity. Which is why even in my book I say, hey, read what I say, but talk to your partner. This could not work for you. So ask them, does this work? And if it doesn't, say what would work to help.
What would then? If not this, then what? Yeah, help me. Yeah. Yep. They're tools. Tools. Yep.
Absolutely. Dr. Damon, what's going on, my brother? First of all, y'all, shout out to Dr. Damon and Donnell. Did you
see? They are killing it. There's nothing new every day. So I don't know if I saw what you're getting ready to say, but I've seen so much other amazingness. So, like,
contracted by my alma mater, Langston University.
Oh, yes, I did see that. I did see that.
Yeah, Modern Manhood, y'all. If y'all not support Modern Manhood, y'all get with Dr. Damon and Donnell. They doing some things, some big things. So anyway, conflict is like taxes, super uncomfortable for most of us. And if you avoid it, eventually it's coming back for everything you got. Absolutely.
Very good,
teamwork and not a pissing contest or tick for tat. Absolutely. And Dave, to your point, that's absolutely right. But you do recognize, like, okay, when we're doing this, all this stuff, when y'all doing this, what this means, right? It means somebody doesn't feel heard. So let's okay. What am I not hearing? What are you trying to say that I'm missing? Okay. So yeah. Intimacy requires prioritization. Intimacy, not sex. Taking time to know and grow worth each other. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. That's true. That is true. Conflict is avoided because people do not know how to be respectful and forget their love shown even while angry. Absolutely. Those people do not need relationships until they know how to communicate effectively and efficiently. Efficiently and effectively. Absolutely. Or they need somebody who communicates like them. Which can be great.
Which is not always healthy. Yeah, that can't always work out.
It can be pretty darn explosive. Or somebody who understands that. Like, there's some people who hear that and can take it. I'm just not one of them. So
yeah. Don't do that.
I can't do it. I tell you, I can't do being yelled at. I can't do it. Some people like chaos, should they? Some people like it. They shouldn't, but
they like it.
I said today. I said today. I told somebody. I said that some people are committed to their they're married and committed to their dysfunction, and you lead them people right over there where they at. You're going about your business, trying to figure out get yourself healthy.
They're uncomfortable to even be around. Like, you just have to know of them. Yeah, yeah. I know of that couple,
Yeah.
but they crazy. We don't double date with them. They ain't coming to none of the dinners, no Christmas. Definitely where no children are involved. Stay over there. We just gonna watch for the crazy on Facebook. That's all we gonna do. Cause I can't. Yeah.
Can't do it.
Yeah. Those people are
Can't do
uncomfortable.
it. Can't do it.
Have you in the car fighting about some stuff that ain't even go? We ain't you
Yeah.
better not ever. You better not ever do nothing like that. I wish
I didn't even do that. What are you talking about?
bet you
I think they're crazy too. Okay.
right. That could either be a bonding moment or that could be a bicker moment. One of the two. If y'all come together, that this was crazy, or if one of them takes it stronger than the other, it could go either way. We could go either way. That's why you just don't go out with those people, because it could go either way. Yeah.
And then, like I said, your house has been a wreck for a week and a half because you
Over
don't.
something that ain't even your friend. Ain't got nothing to do with you.
We ain't do this. Them crazy fools.
That's when you get your giggles. When you're third party to the foolery. That's when you find that joy that we was talking about in that previous.
Now, Shanae.
Right.
Facts.
With the music in the background and the dances. What's old girl, Big Sean and old girl with the all on the hook. Uh-huh.
Facts.
Yeah. Matching them. You show right. Food up. Nope.
All right. Let's get to this main topic.
Yeah. At 9:20.
Right. All right. So tonight's main topic. You want to do this or you want me to do it?
No, I'm gonna let you do it. Go for it.
All right. So tonight's topic, actually, this topic or this question came from another question. And so let's me show it. So I asked this question last week, a couple days ago. So I asked the one on the right a couple of weeks ago. And so which brought me to this question because the question I asked, several people on the post said that people are getting married, don't know what the purpose of marriage is. And so I'm like, okay, well then what's the purpose of marriage? If this question brings you to say that people don't know, I'm like, I want to know what the purpose of marriage is. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight because I am actually, let me back up. So this is where this started from. I was on a guest on a podcast 3 weeks ago. And at the end of the podcast, I was asked, it was me and another brother asked, outside, the title of the podcast is infidelity the worst thing you can do in a relationship? That was the question of the podcast. At the end of it, we got to where I was asked, outside of infidelity and abuse, are there other reasons that a person should stay or should leave a marriage?
Mm-hmm.
And me and my honest self gave an honest answer.
Me and my honest self. Okay,
and my honest self said, I understand that as Christians, we believe that generally in the Orthodox belief is that the Bible says that outside of infidelity or abuse, you stay.
Mm-hmm.
My question was, when I was asked, I said, I don't necessarily think I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's right or if that really speaks to the intention, because if we say that the intention or one of the intentions of marriage is to build this kingdom or to build this family, then there are other things besides infidelity and abuse that are unhealthy to the building or add like really bad things to this family. Mm-hmm. And yes, I know God can redeem, blah, blah, blah. I know all of that. But so is it right for us to tell people, especially people who are in situations where one person is willfully, they're not beating you and they're not cheating, but they are doing their best, and this happens, to make their partner's life a living hell.
Yeah.
So should I, as a pastor, instruct them to stay in this marriage simply because
They're
they're
not
not
getting
being
beat or cheated
they're not
on.
getting beat or they're not getting cheated on,
Mhm.
or do I, like how do I respond to that as I am watching men and women in
Mhm.
marriages that they are being like killed emotionally
Mhm.
and physically, the deterioration of their bodies, like you can see a deterioration of their bodies because they're trying to stay in this marriage. So is this really like what God has designed?
Right.
Like, and again, and I never tell people to stay or go,
Yeah.
but I also recognize that a lot of people come to me first as a pastor, second as a relationship person, and say like, "Am I okay? Am I leave if I leave, or is God going to be mad at me if I leave?"
Mhm.
And so that's where this question came from.
Mhm.
Was me trying to work through this, like, what are we feeling? Because I think sometimes again that when we're telling people to stay and we're telling them to fight, we're telling them to fight for your marriage, fight for this, that like people have been fighting. That's the
Mhm.
point.
Mhm.
Like nobody's just like, well, not everybody, but like people are fighting and that they're tired of fighting. And that what we're telling them or what's being interpreted is you care more about me just being married than you do about me being healthy.
Right. Right.
And we even have books now, and I know this is not in context completely, that say things like marriage is not for happiness, marriage is for holiness. And I in part in context agree with that.
Mhm.
But I also don't think that I do think that marriage is not supposed to be miserable.
Right. Agreed. Mhm.
So all of that is how we get this question. And then people's response on the post about, people don't know what marriage is, people don't, brings me to ask, what's the point? What's the purpose of marriage?
Mhm.
That's a long introduction.
No, but it was good. I couldn't have done that. I'm glad I gave that on to you. Will quickly. We didn't even debate it. That was you, and we moved on because I wouldn't have done that. That was good. Yeah, yeah. Lots of layers to this one. But when I read the when we as believers question and how this goes down, we talked about this before. And definitely in the context of why is it so that is the go-to, and like then you have to like share all of the deep dark dirty details for someone to be like, well, okay, but have you tried, so you got to fully expose and bear all before someone is even willing to understand that there could be an end, and it's okay, and it's not something that we've got to like recommit our lives to the to God for when we decide we don't want to do this anymore. So it has always been a question for me, because I think to myself, people go through a lot of changes in the midst of life. And we're not doing how we become married the way that the Bible said. Like, so all of those things have been switched up. So it did always bring a big question to me about why we go so hard for stay, 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 pray, 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 and don't really pay much attention to the actual relationship aside from you're married, work it out.
Yeah,
So yeah, I appreciate that question. What is the purpose of marriage? I added some couple questions down there because this is often was thrown out when we ask these types of questions about why are people still getting married, or is it important not one or the other. Business arrangement, spiritual covenant, or biblical covenant, or love and legacy. I think it's I think it's very much a mix of all of those things.
I agree.
Uh, because we are very much a part of this country, which means that it is all business. Um, they couldn't care less if you love one another if your names are on that piece of paper.
Right.
They don't care.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
don't they don't care. Sign both your names on the piece on the proper paperwork. Pay them taxes. I don't care. Love was never a requirement, but once you become married, the both of you are required on a lot of things. So it is very much a business arrangement. Regardless if you are a Christian or not, I do believe that if you believe in something and decide to become in marriage with someone else, you would hope that they also join you in some type of spiritual belief. So when you do come together as husband and wife, there is also some type of deeper commitment that's tied to that belief system. So I think that also has a huge part to do with it. And yeah, I would hope that your goal is to create, is to have some love, some endearment to the person that you're spending your life with. Legacy kids aren't for everyone, but I think you can still create a legacy outside of children. So if two people have connected and create beautiful whatever, and they do it in love, and that can very much be a legacy, their legacy. I think we have definitely began to think more critically at marriage, even from a biblical standpoint, which is why pastors and spiritual leaders are starting to ask these questions of other believers. Like, what are we doing here? We pulled back some layers. We've had some different conversations. We've created some more transparent spaces, safer places, and people have said, I'm tired of hurting or hiding or not saying this thing. And then they found out that they've got family that are in that safe, they found folks who relate and are experiencing the same things, and quiet ain't what we do in that anymore. So these conversations are being forced within all churches, not just Christian churches, in all spaces of belief.
Life, period.
Yeah, we are discussing what this looks like for us. So yeah. So in a lot of ways, it's one that you will define for you and your mate. But at the same time, we are definitely having a huge discussion about what this will look like going forward.
Right. Yeah, I was telling somebody today, I think that before, because, I think I was telling somebody today, before you make the decision to, like, you have to really, you and the other person have to really make sure that you are on, like, not at least, but you have to at least have the same thought about what you're doing.
Yeah.
And get on that, be unified there, and what those boundaries and futures and all of that stuff is going to look like where you're going. Like, all of that stuff got to be talked through before and like all throughout the time together, because it doesn't necessarily, like, where's this thing of where you had to, like, you don't have to be married now. So that makes it completely different based upon what how society was, even in the times that scripture was written. So, or outside of script, like, so this isn't that type of country where
we say we aren't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're not this type of country in the sense of, like, there's some countries that, as a woman, if you're unmarried, you are,
Oh, extra. Okay.
Yes,
you don't really count. You
Yeah.
don't exist until
Right. So those types.
I thought you were about to say we don't care. We don't pay any attention to the Bible, plus how we do our. Yeah, I was about to say that's a lie.
You already know that's a.
The test results say that is determined that is a lie.
Nah, that just sounded good.
Yeah, but
that sounded good when we were trying to take the country over. That's what that was. So,
prayer, sure.
It's a prayer, a little syphilis for you. Here you go. So yeah, so no, but I think I just think that. So part of me, as I was listening to you talk, thought, okay, so if it's all three, then could it be that we don't have the skill to do that, and so our default is stay and pray? As you said, like, we don't have the skills and have not developed the skills well enough, or been vulnerable enough as married people or even single people to walk alongside couples through some of the beginning, middle, and end stages of marriage. So, so now all we have is the default of just stay, you'll be okay, instead of saying this hard season is normal, or this hard season can be avoided that you're about to go through. Like, because we have not developed that kind of skill in that kind of community where we're willing to do that, then that's all we got. And then when stuff happens, it's just like, well, you should have just prayed more and stayed more. No, wait, no. And I on a personal level, I think about, like, towards the end of mine, like, I was like, somebody help. Tell me what I'm doing. And everybody was like, oh, you'll be okay. No.
This is
No.
not okay. Yeah.
No, batten down the hatches. This boat is falling apart. And there was like no help. So they were like praying and like, yeah, I'm praying, but I used to say I need skills. I need some skills, some tools. I need somebody to teach me how to talk, because I don't know how to talk at this point. Like the only thing I know how to do is grunt and walk away, and that's not working.
Be mad about it. Yeah.
I'm just mad and don't know why. And then I don't know why I'm mad. And it's just like, no, you just need to learn how to identify how you're feeling. Like, but nobody taught me that.
No. We don't. Our culture does not deal with this well. Our culture does not deal with ends well. We are long suffering as a people. So we tend to apply it to every life. Your job sucks, but you got one. Stay on that job. You get your house falling apart. But this folks is homeless. We are notorious for the other side. If only there was ever, you know what I mean? And it totally takes everything away from the actual experience that you're having. So yeah, we're really good for that, because there's always been a worse. There's always been a worse for us. That's been the go-to. So if you experience any level of not the worst, consider yourself lucky. And to your question, as far as do we not have the skills to deal with that? No, we don't. You hurting outwardly, you needing guidance, you going through, you experiencing that outwardly involves me, because I'm your person. So like now I got to get involved and have to help, and that's sticky, and that might show me some of my stuff, and now I got to deal with your stuff and my stuff, and I'm not ready for, and we don't have it, and we're not ready to deal with it. Especially in those spaces. There's a long, so I hear, because I ain't in there, but so there's a long line of stay, pray, work it out. Shh. Stay, pray, work it out. Shh. So the whole idea of even having a community to go to say help, like it's happening. I did all that, but this is still happening. How do I do this? There's no structure for that. So there, and that's hard to watch a person need that community and that guidance and it not be there, and what that disconnect looks like in the most difficult part of those people's lives, and knowing that these people love you. Like that's the hard part watching, because it's not that these people who are saying stay, pray, fight through don't care for you. It's that I don't have what you need. You know what I mean? Either I haven't been there, or I'm not in a position, because we don't talk about it. It's like Bruno. Like all relationships is Bruno. Like you might as well eat Bruno. Put that in the file and slide that bad boy in the drawer. All that's Bruno. We don't talk about that. No. Even if I thought about it, did all of that, I can't tell you that I've been here. Because now I'm breaking all of the other stuff. So I think we're starting to discuss what it means to take care of covenant, take care of self, and how they all mesh. I think we have been terribly misinformed. And again, this is my outside looking in, just experiencing life. But we have been really misinformed with that whole you sacrifice self in a way, you become one, and it's all about like that whole thing. I think is allowed for a lot of immature, insecure, unsafe, unevolving.
Say more. Okay. I like
where
you're going.
We haven't allowed us to grow past that. We're stuck. You know what I mean? So when it gets time to break through that, no one knows what to do with it. So it is allowed for a lot of the tough stuff, the toxic stuff to fester. So it's got a safe place. That has a safe place.
Yeah.
The trauma's created a really, really warm, cushy space for that. And that's, it doesn't sound good for people to be talking about, everything ain't going to be, sometimes it's time to go. It doesn't sound good to be that person. But like when you really start to peel back what it looks like and what it feels like and what it does to a person, what God said it was supposed to be ain't what it is. So like,
and that's
and I ain't got to
that
tell you the scripture to know that. That ain't what he said it was supposed to be. You know what I mean? And like we have been going against that to say, no, this. I mean,
and I think so. I think there's, I think there's like, I think there is a, there's definitely like, I think what you were getting at to me is like there, that saying that has opened up the doors to a lot of abuse.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that we have to be honest and say that we have opened up the doors to abuse by doing that, instead of and instead of just giving people the space to, whether it's, whether it's leave, or even if it's fighting a different way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like there's got to be something else that does not continue to harm. And I feel like uh, both men and women are just hurting on top of harming, on top of hurting, on top of harming, instead of finding something that's going to, okay, that hurts, but now let's start going through a process of how we heal. And there's no space to say, like, listen, for either of us to be like, you know what, listen, I hurt you. And I hurt you, and I hurt you, and I'm hurt. So listen, I need to do what I can to help be a part of your healing and your healing journey. And so now I don't know how to do that, but I want to do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just no, that's just not there. It's just about, I don't know. It's about pretending to look good when everything, like, is bad. It's just bad.
Yeah. We created a cover that does anything but cover us. It leaves us exposed. Like that, I don't know if that, because that's like what I feel in all of the creation of what looks good and fits into the pictures and dots, fills the bullets and all of that. It creates an image of, this is good, this is the goal, this is safe, this is whatever, the American dream, the ideal, whatever it is. It doesn't even have to be like the be all end all, but like, this thing looks this way, and we put so much effort into maintaining that. But then when we go behind the doors, it's not an effort being put into creating it. We are now resting because we tired from putting on the show. So now that is when that happens. That's why I'm like, the conversations have to happen. I am, as much as I am for, a certain level of privacy and intimate in all of that, I get that. But if this is this is everybody's first time doing this life. Have we experienced certain things a couple times and have a little bit of background in it? Absolutely. But for many of us, a lot of these things are our first go rounds at this. And we talk so much about the whys and creating community and the sisterhoods and the brotherhoods and all of that thing. But then there's always this ever present veil of silence and seclusion. We silo the healing because,
don't want nobody to know that we hurt, and then we don't look.
Oh, that's just damn all that. Like, at this point, we cannot afford this secret society. We don't have it. We don't have it because we're all bleeding profusely out in the open. Our pain is not compartmentalized anymore. So it's time to get out in the open and do this work, because like, it's not helping us. And the covering is a lie. That's why everybody's like, look at all of these. That's not working. And then when you get through it all and everybody starts talking about it, and it was like, man, if we just could have talked, if I just would have known, if somebody could have seen, if anybody could have heard me, I tried to say something, they told me to do. Like, you get all of this background after the fact, and after everyone is no longer uncomfortable with the fact that this thing has now made them uncomfortable because it's not what it used to be. Now everyone is all like,
we can all smell it and see it. So it's
like, I wish we would have. If only we had a. Why didn't you say? Well, because y'all was clutching the pearls that hadn't even been strung around your neck yet. But here we are. Like, so we can't keep asking ourselves, how do we know how we got here? Are we going to stay here, or are we going to move on? Like, we know how we got here. We know. And you ain't had to step your foot in the church, but you have been affected by the crossover. This it is a part of our community. Like, that is trickled.
Yeah. I do think that there needs to be wisdom in, because I know this is what you mean, like wisdom in who we talk to. Because
Yes, not just
don't tell
everybody.
everybody. Don't
Yes.
tell everybody now.
No.
Don't say the scoop told you to tell everybody. We're
No.
not saying that, but I do think that there definitely has to be community in place, or people in your circle who not only you can talk to, but that your partner knows that like I don't think that there's that both of you can talk to, that is not going to you know try to sleep with your wife, or you try to mess with your husband, be texting
Yeah.
that's safe, that you can still have those conversations with, and in a raw and truthful way, not the pretty truth either. I mean, like the ugly truth.
And it's gonna check you on your stuff. Take
That's
not you
going
wrong. That ain't right. That ain't what
right,
you do. Yeah.
right. And not, and then at the same time tell you you're wrong, but say, okay, now come on, let me walk with you and show
What
you.
we do.
Let's try this again, but I'm gonna do this with you because I know what you were trying to do, and I know why you did that. I understand that, but that was damaging, and
Yeah.
so let's try this differently next time. Let's try this in a way that you still tell him that he hurt you, but you don't damage the man by telling him, by talking about his mama. Like let's do this better. Let's do this a little bit better. So I don't know.
Don't y'all love it when he does the chin thing? When he's gonna come back with a good one when he does the stare off.
Is that what that is?
Mm-hmm. You tapping in on me.
Yeah, I don't know. I want more for us.
Mm-hmm.
I want it because I do think that whether we wanted it or not, that as a part of, so to your earlier point about the losing yourself, and I think there's a part of that does happen, but I think it's when it's losing yourself, I think you're supposed to lose like the selfish parts of yourself. You're supposed to lose you're not supposed to lose your personality. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're not supposed to lose your core and like all of that stuff, but you are supposed to learn how to think about somebody else and how to give to, and in the process of that, you find a higher purpose than you, or you find the beauty in recognize when the other person does that for you too, and now there's this energy that's created and this synergy that's created, that now we are like I can go further faster because I have somebody
Mm-hmm.
who is locked into the things that I can't do, or that I'm
We're in
not.
alignment and how
Yeah,
we're getting there. Yeah.
yeah. And so now we're kind of like in lockstep figuring this out, and I'm doing that for them, and they doing, and like in this season, if this is my season, I got to slow down doing this. So you can go ahead, cool, because I know, like we just like we're in that. So I think that's the loss of self
Mm-hmm.
that happens. But I think we've taken it too far,
Yeah.
and it's like I would say like Jesus died on the cross, so I don't have to. So
Yeah.
why y'all keep putting me on the cross? Feel like I got to be.
Yeah, there's a definite level of sacrifice and yeah. But again, I think that goes back to what we were saying earlier as far as we're not doing marriage the biblical way. Like all of those principles that we have set up that are supposed to align with all of that. Yes, you can be self-sacrificing and leave all of your selfishness at the door, because the person that you meet is equally yoked and they understand what you need and they're in alignment and everything is going to move beautifully. And yes, you're going to have some bumps in the road, but at the center, you're going to regain your footing and hop to it. 1-2 step, everything's going to be good. That's not what we're doing. We've been put into situations and environmental, life has happened, America has happened, Black has happened, like all these things have happened that have affected how we've had to accommodate these expectations of what this looks like. So when we get through actually experiencing these relationships, and then we give people these lists of things that they're supposed to abandon, when these things could possibly have been the very things that have helped them survive up until this point. And this person has those same tools that have helped them to survive. And now we're putting all of our survival skills on one another, toolless, and hoping that us is going to be all we need to maintain and still navigate in the world that required these tools prior to us becoming one union. So, not saying that we're supposed to continue to sharpen and use these tools on one another, but I think when we leave our singleness and move into marriedness, I think a lot of the times community will strip you of self for you. You could very well know, you and your spouse can very well know what it is that you need, because it's what got you to each other in the first place. You experienced each other the entire time with set tools or whatever it is that you had, and you understood that person enough to say, yeah, I'm gonna rock with you. Forever is good for me. Let's do it. And you get there, and then you start experiencing marriage together and having to navigate those things together. And then people, because now you've added marriage to your thing, they're like, oh, you can't do that anymore. Like, oh, not that. So now you're out here figuring it out, possibly hurting, going through something, because that is also a part of what it is. And now you're told that all things that used to cover, protect you, get you through are no longer necessary. There's not usually a tampering of and able to adjust, someone to show you, okay, so how you should. Don't go that hard, but
there's still some things you can do, but
that a little bit, and that can get you where you need to be. So not only are you heard, but going forward, we don't have to go through this. Like that part is where we don't do that, because we put this marriage title on it, and we forget all tools that got us to this point. And now we're supposed to just magically create these new tools together, and that is unrealistic. I do not feel that's realistic, because we don't have the structure in place to make that work.
No, I actually experienced that on a regular basis. So I say the same thing. Like I tell Jamie all the time, like the fact that you have had to do all of this to survive and get to where you are, I find that attractive as hell. But cut that out, because I got that. Don't worry about it.
Showing her through.
And so so there is this process of like, wait, but and for me, it's a process of like, here I come to say that, like, no, she don't need you to say it today. So it's like, whoo.
What I do with my hands? I got these hands that need to do.
I'm like,
what I do with my
and I got to shut my mouth. Cause like, shut up and don't do nothing.
But you're both developing new tools.
But it's and so I think
how they work for each other.
So I and that's a real thing. I think that the difficult part is I've learned which tool you need to put up, or which tool I'm asking you to put up for me, and which tool I'm asking you to pull up for us. And which one is for you. So like there's a difference like this, or like, hey, we don't need that right now, but don't get rid of it. And I've said that, like, hey, we don't need that right now. Like that's not what I need. I don't need that tool. Say it, keep it sharp.
Right.
We might need that in a minute. But right now we okay. So I think that is 40 plus, 40 years.
Right. We got to go through some things to get that understanding.
Of having to understand and be able to do something different, and vice versa. Like there's some things that I'm like, oh, I can't use that tool no more. Oh.
Well, that's all I had. So, little help.
I'm just gonna put it over here just in case. So, it's difficult, but man. But I think again, it's easier when you recognize, like I said, when you see the glimpses of you getting better from it. And because to your point, you have community where I can say, hey, this is problematic for me. Y'all walk me through this, and vice versa. So I think that we've got to be open and honest enough to have those conversations, but also we've got to be open and honest enough as to why something is valuable to us. So,
I know we got to wrap, but like that is where I feel we kind of are with our relationships right now. We are figuring out, we are kind of the first go round at having this freedom of figuring us out. Aside from all of these boxes and paths and things, like folks are saying, you know what, life is short, YOLO, all over again, but not like in the reckless way, in a much more intentional way. Because we have a different understanding of life is short. You only get one go, you know, figure out what lights you up, those types of things. So we're actually now in the position, from a foundational perspective, like our stability is somewhat on point. We can feed ourselves, clothe ourselves, how you know, we got the basics handled. We got a little fun money, got a little time available, you know, we can go back and do some things. There's a different focus on figuring out the whole person, the desires and needs and boundaries that are surrounding the whole person, not a person in preparation for something else, a job, a this, a that. You know, when we're always in prep for, it doesn't leave a whole lot of time to rest in. We're spending more time resting in who we are, figuring out, I don't like that. I don't feel good. Like, tried it. Nope. Gonna pass.
Right.
On to the next thing, like without that judgment and guilt and that weight of failure and it didn't work. And anybody got time for that? Because we don't have time. You know what I mean? Like the time that we are using now is to be intentional, so we do it right. Because we don't have a bunch of time to do it over and over and over again. So I think that is the gift and curse. It feels really weird and hard because it doesn't look like what we're used to. It doesn't follow the path of what everybody else's path was and that seemed to be successful. Folks are walking new paths that are creating a different time frame for what success looks like. So I think that's very much where we are right now. Very much so.
Yeah.
Our babies are further along than we are because we've given them a lifestyle that they don't even have to worry about that other stuff. They're just finding themselves, which is also a gift and a curse.
Yes, they also just like, okay, you're like, whoa, because I think to what the whole just stay and pray, like I get I get what people are what I think they're trying to get to, which is that people mature, people change, give them time. What's happening right now isn't like, oh, don't give up too quick. Like I get that's what they're trying to say, but that ain't what y'all say. That ain't what we hear. So
listen first, then say that. Like actually listen first.
Or just instead of just saying, and I've said that before, like what she is doing right now is her immaturity. You wait this out. This one's gonna change.
Yeah.
Like, this is gonna change. This is why it's gonna change. Why, potentially why it's gonna change, and then you'll be okay. But right now, she doesn't see a 1, 2, 3, or he doesn't understand this, and this. I can't tell you how long it's gonna be before they make this adjustment. But based on these things here, this is what I'm saying that lets you know. Like, so there's a level of wisdom that you can give in, like you said, just listening as opposed to just pray about it and let the Lord work it out, or outside of church context, saying the same thing but not saying pray. Just
because it is not just the church that talks.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's everywhere. So, good conversation. All right, final thoughts. Go ahead. What you got?
Baby steps. Legit, one foot in front of the other. We're gonna have to take a very close look. I'm not, y'all know, I claim to be, I'm a hybrid. I definitely can identify with the values and the core of old school and the why behind it all, and I get all of that, and I'm not at all ever saying throw all of that away. But at the same time, we have to really, really take a look at all the things that we are comfortable saying need fixing. That's how it starts. Like if you got all of these things that are, you're over, never again, I ain't gonna do, I wish I wouldn't have ever had, like all of those things require action to change, to do something different other than say, ouch. And that takes baby steps. That takes little steps. That takes it being a little dim because it ain't been figured out yet, and being that first one down the hall with your hand out, holding somebody else's hand. Come on, girl, I got you. Come on, baby, I got you. And we're going to inch it one quarter step at a time, because sometimes you can't even half step. You got to quarter step that thing, and we figure it out together. So I'm hoping, as we have these types of conversations and as we experience more life, hopefully minus more trauma, because I think we have done our due in trauma and healing together through trauma. I would really hope that now we create spaces of vulnerability and safety where we can now come together and just work on next. What does this look like, and really work through that. Doesn't have to be big groups, doesn't have to be posted, doesn't have to be anything other than what you and that circle do. But like, we've got to get back to those basics so we can figure it out. We don't know. This is the first time a lot of this is happening. This freedom, this ability, this access, it's the first time. So we have to figure this out so we can be that blueprint. This is the time for that.
This is it.
Yeah.
This is it. I think that my final thoughts would be, don't be afraid to confront and challenge the things that don't feel good. I think that even as a pastor, I'm saying this. I think that God is big enough, strong enough, smart enough to handle our questions.
Yeah. You think? Much better than our Facebook audience.
So I think saying like, this don't feel good and I need to know why, is okay. Or that answer, I know that's what I'm told the book say, but I don't. Don't. Something may lining up, and I need some.
That don't look like this.
We talk to like. I think that's okay. I think it's very okay. So I think we need to stop like just taking people again word for it. And I'm saying this as someone who does this, like on both sides of this. Like, I ask the questions and I tell people, I interpret what I think the Bible says. But ask the questions and be okay with sitting in that space of waiting for a response, but saying, hey, this does not feel good. I think I'm doing this right, but I'm open to understanding something different. So please do that. So I think that's one thought I have. The other thought is, not only is it okay to confront and ask questions about the things that don't feel good, but the other thing I want to say is to don't allow the norm. I'm about to make a word. I think the normalcy of your dysfunction to remain normal.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the systems that we created are really dysfunctional systems that just really keep us in the state of surviving in pain and with pain, as opposed to doing the work to try to get us to a place of health. And so I see a lot of us either settling for dysfunction, this is how it's going to be, so that's what, or being hyper aggressive towards trying to change where we're not in balance in that way. So like, confront it, but do it in like, let's go for it, but let's go for it in a way that like, I don't have to destroy Q in order to make myself get healthy. So I think
if I love, why would I want to? Why is that my route? Like, work with that, figure that out, and like, why is this my go-to for the person or people that I say that I love? That this is how I rejuvenate me, by tearing,
Exactly. And all of them, like and I don't mean just in your romantic relationships.
That's what I say. Or other people,
with your friends, with your children, with your church, with your job, and with your health, with like everything, like confronting all of that and saying this is not going to work, and being okay with saying, and I need help.
And I need help. Yep.
I need help. I need to surround myself with people who can walk with me through these big questions and through these challenging seasons, and who will not only love me but probably love me even more because they get to learn alongside of me.
We're doing this journey together. Yep.
So that's my final thoughts, y'all. Like we can be all right, and we can heal a lot faster if we just decided to, with grace, approach each other and approach how we feel about ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Because that's what you want. Like, you want it. People want, look, now I'm about to preach. You want it. Like, we are fighting to get to a place of wholeness and healing. That's what we want.
Mm-hmm.
And we doing all kind of dysfunctional stuff to try to make ourselves feel better when that ain't what we want. We really just want wholeness and health, and to be loved well, and to love well, and to have peace and joy and all of that good stuff. So let's do that.
There's not a download that's coming that's just going to magically make you ready.
It's
you got to do the work. You got to do the work.
You got to.
Mm-hmm.
You got to. We got to. Don't
yeah.
forget.
Yeah.
We doing the work like every day. Every day. So that's all I got today.
Me too.
We skipped all our announcements.
They know.
Get you some elegance by design. Get you some elegance by design. Elegance by design with the Z.com.
Mm-hmm.
Order the book Surviving Relationship Storms. If you're not do that, if you're not on my email list, go to workwithwinfred.com. And then Scoop on Clubhouse is coming back in September. Yeah, we got some new Clubhouse that we're going to be doing in the fall. So y'all stay with us. And then, of course, if you haven't joined our Patreon, join the Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Real Scoop Show so you can participate in all this stuff. Hey, Cicely, how you doing? All right, y'all. Love y'all. You got anything else? Q?
What is it? That's where I'm headed. Yeah. I didn't even get my hand up there in time last time. I know I'm done. I couldn't close it and I couldn't cover it. So yeah, it's a wrap for me.
All right, y'all. Again, thank you. If you haven't shared the show, hit the share button. Share it with your friends. If there was something that was good for you, then y'all share. Have these conversations with your partner. Be back next week, same time, for another great show. Y'all, we love y'all. See y'all next week. We out.
Bye.
You could just give it, I should just stand it while you standing here. First you say you're with me, and then you try to diss me. So I try to keep it low when you knock me to the floor, cause I don't wanna cry no tears. Would you believe